Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at the stand down, and the day is September the 14th, 2012, and we have one of the veterans who are participating in this event, and we're going to let him tell you a little bit about himself and about his story.
Yeah, this is Sonny Took here. Yeah, I don't know where I can start. There's so many things I've done, so many places I've been. Oh wow, where can I start? Let's see, 74 years old. Well, I call myself 75. Let me tell you this little story. I remember growing up, I was 12 years old. Well, I was 11. And I remember my uncle saying, I said, oh, I'll be glad when I get 12. He said, boy, you already 12 years old. I said, no, Uncle Johnny, I'm 11 now. You was born in 1938. And I was here when your mama was pregnant, when she was in your belly. And that's when life came. You started then, so you 12 years old. So now when people ask me, I say, yeah, 75. And then, of course, they look at the records and whatnot and say, oh, well, you born 1938, March, so you 74. Hey, my uncle told me when my mother got pregnant, start counting from then.
That's when you count, right?
Yes, yeah. I started counting from then.
So how long did you stay in the service?
4 years.
And where did you go in?
I went in 55, got out in 59.
You were overseas?
Yep, overseas. All my time was spent overseas. Other than Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi. You know something? I was down there when Emmett Till was killed.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, that would have been what, 50?
55. That was around July, August of 55. And for you all who don't remember, especially African Americans, shame on you. How dare you? Now they say you don't know about that. I don't care if you're not old, even if you're young. You should have known. Your parents should have told you about it. And I like that idea too, what the brother said, a charter school here for us, so that, because nobody else is going to teach you. You know, it's the analogy like, would you have somebody come in your house and raise your kids and teach them stuff? If you want them to know something, you better teach them yourself and teach them to read. But I'll tell you another thing. I'm glad I came out here. This is, what do you say? This is 14. Yeah. I was ready to leave yesterday, man. Mr. Brown! But there are certain individuals, including you, Sonny Francis.
Is Mr. Brown in that tent, bud?
Convinced me. We got a little disruption. I'm awake. I can't compete with somebody else talking. Needle in the haystack when I'm talking.
I'm looking for Mr. Brown.
Oh, he's not here.
That's like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Anyway, where was I? Yeah, I started to leave. But I'm getting connections, networking, people I'm running into. And you know what? All this stuff is not an accident. There's a reason for this happening. Meeting people that you hadn't known before, or someone that you didn't know, but they know all these people that you know from back in the day. This is something. But like I say, I'm glad I stayed. I'm going to stay here until Sunday when it's all over. And beautiful day. You can probably see that warm down here at the Alameda County Fairgrounds.
Yeah, it is beautiful. You were mentioning some of your travels. Where can you give us a few places that you've been to?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you some of the places I've lived. I lived in Kenya for 2 years. I was in Mombasa. That's a little island off the coast of it. It's still part of Kenya. I was there, and yeah, a place in Mombasa called Mikandani. Oh man, let me tell you something. You know, when they talk about that place in South Africa, what's the name of it? That, you know, it was like that, worse than that. But I learned a lot, man, from being around them that 2 years I was there.
When you say worse than that, it's worse than the living condition you're talking about, Soweto?
Yes.
Soweto.
Yes, Soweto. That was the place. It was bad. It was bad. And, you know, I was kind of thinking at the time, I said, well, damn, no wonder you people have malaria. I didn't say you people, I hate that term anyway. I said, no wonder there's malaria around. Look at all the garbage and the shit here. But then you learn after a while why it's like that. and how the people are. I mean, what can I say? It was kind of like by design, because they're not normally like that. They're not normally like that. But the idea of having to, when you go to bed at night, you have to have a net around your bed. You have to have a net around your bed because these mosquitoes will get to you. But now check this out. It wasn't bad for us, others who were there visiting, because we took whatever this immunization was they gave us. And I took it every Monday, never missed. Then you won't get malaria. Because I recall talking to this doctor that said, damn, you mean I have to take this every day? All the time I'm there? And, you know, I had planned to live there, which I found out was a stupid idea. But at any rate...
do you have any idea if malaria has been eradicated in the United States?
Yes. Except in this case, I understand when you have malaria, like guys from World War II, and it was in the South Pacific, if you contracted malaria, you're going to have that the rest of your life.
Is that right? I didn't know that. Yeah.
Some things are going to come up that happen. But you know, there in Kenya, I remember this brother, good friend of mine, Macau. I saw him one day, I thought the brother was going to die. He was really looking bad. And he just said, it's all right. All we do is just take medicine. I'm going to go down here to the drugstore and take this medicine. I said, wow, and it takes quite a while, but they get over it. But I feel that the malaria is still in their body. Well, what can they do?
Yeah.
They're poor. They don't have the money. And I resented when what's-his-face went over there, Bush, talking about, we're going to do wonderful things for them, and left some nets for them. You know, for the mosquitoes. Eradicate the eradicate the malaria, and you won't have that problem.
Absolutely.
You know, this is what, you putting a Band-Aid on a thing, giving them some damn nets to put up for that type of thing. But it was all right. I remember my girlfriend telling me, she would get mad. I get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and she'd say, let the net down, please. I'd leave the net up, and she'd be all over me with that stuff. Because it's some serious shit. You know, it wouldn't have bothered me because I had the immunization against it. It worked, too. But, beautiful sister, too.
So from Kenya, you went to Kathmandu?
Yeah, that was... oh no, I had retired. This is right after I retired, right in San Francisco, over in San Mateo, the company I was working for. I was a computer programmer. So when I retired, I had a house there in East Oakland. And all the payments were cool, the mortgage, while I was working. Shit, I was making 70, 80 grand a year at the time. This is 1999. That was a lot of money.
That was a lot of money, yeah.
Right, so I said, no, I'm not going to do this, because I've always traveled and loved to do it. That's the shit. Let me sell this house. And first I was going to go to Mexico, because I had been down there many times before. And my niece had married this brother from Kenya. And he was telling me, yeah, that would be the good place to retire. We got this and that. He's talking. And me shouldn't have really listened, because I had a contract in Saudi Arabia prior to that time. So I did a 2-year thing once, and then a 1.5 years another time. And I had been to Kenya, visiting there with a friend who was from Kenya. And I got to see firsthand what was happening there. I went there a couple of times, as a matter of fact. That was a great experience, man. Let me tell you, when I came back from Kenya, I'd been other places there too. In Somalia, I was there in Somalia before all this stuff started, you know, all the killing and whatnot. And I usually tell this story. I don't want to tell you about this right now. Maybe I'll write about it sometime. But I'm lucky to be alive to have gotten out of Somalia and stuff that happened there. But I guess his brother said, this man is crazy. And it's something how when you do that, no matter where in the world you go, if people figure he must be crazy. You here in Somalia and talking like that to me, and they got machine guns and shit wrapped around. Like I say, I'm blessed. I'm
well,
blessed.
yeah, well, it just wasn't your time.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
so we put it like that. But anyway, what do you have planned for the future? What are you doing now? I know you're retired, but are you going to do some more traveling, or what's up?
Eventually, I intend to do that. But you know what I really want to do? Since I'm right here in the Bay Area, San Francisco in particular, I would like to get involved with someone or do it on my own to teach basic computers how to use the computer today, especially senior citizens and especially among African Americans. Because there's no excuse for you not to know. It's free in the libraries, so why not take advantage of it? And for those who say, well, I don't understand, this is difficult. No, it's not difficult. But let me tell you this, you have to do it. Technology is here to stay. It's not going away. It's right here, and it's going to get even better. So these are some of the things that I would talk about when I would teach it. I would like to do it with senior citizens, but younger people as well, because it is necessary. It's just like now, it is very difficult for you to live and function today if you don't have a cell phone. Now that should be a message for you right there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I don't see any phone booths around anymore.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I had that problem too when I was when I was there. Well, I'm jumping around, but you know, when I came back from Kenya, I stayed about. See, there's some other things I can say about Kenya, but probably another time there. Oh, but I got to mention this. The president at the time was Moi, Daniel Moi. Now, these dictators, I know they were supported and put in there by the West, and in particular the U.S. and England. They don't like for me to say England, but there's nothing great about you, Great Britain, in England. So I didn't particularly care for the way they were doing their own people. They're getting paid this money. They got all these poor people suffering around. How much money do you need? Damn, you got all of this money, and the things they were doing, I didn't like. And I used to say,
and I found out that it doesn't snow anywhere in the world, and I decided to get out of Chicago. And I got my money together, and I went out to O'Hare Airport, and it was 40 below zero and 14 feet of snow on the ground. And I walked up to the counter. I told him, man, I wanted a ticket to California. And he says, well, I can get you to San Francisco in the next hour. And I said, how much is the fare? And he says, it's $129, but we got a special right now for $139, you can get a round trip. I said, no, I'm cool, I don't need no round trip. He said, man, for $10, you're gonna get a ticket back. I said, I am never coming back. And that was in 1969, and I have never been back. So I'm out here kind of stuck in California, because, you know, I'm spoiled. And wound up going to Los Angeles, and I got on the LA City Fire Department, and I did that for 15 years. I opened a construction company. I had this crazy woman, my kid's mother, and she walked into my construction company and killed my secretary in broad daylight. And so I decided to move up to San Francisco. And I've been up here doing this and that. Got caught up in the street movement. The urban jungle, as I call it, of San Francisco. And I've probably been here now 30 years between San Francisco and Oakland. I raised my kids in Oakland. And I'm still trying to raise myself here. So after I raise my kids, now I got to raise myself.
How many kids you have?
I got 7 kids.
Is that right?
Yeah, I got 7 kids.
5
good ones and 2 bad ones.
Well, we like to think of all of them as good, but anyway.
Yeah, we would like to think that.
They'll
but
come back.
I got one daughter, when I see her coming down the street, I hit the corner. Real quick.
How long did you stay in the service?
I stayed in the service 18 months. I got out, I was supposed to do 2 years, but I was working as a company clerk, and they sent a confidential letter into the CO's office. They needed one person from each unit to go home. And as soon as I opened the envelope, I wrote my name in, signed the envelope, and sent it back to the division. The next day, the divisional officer came up and says, Specialist Seymour, pack up, you're going home. And my company commander says, how did they pick you? I said, man, I don't know. I'm not going to disobey orders.
Right.
And I got on the plane and came home because I never liked Vietnam from one moment. When we got out, we was on the plane on the John Daly World Airways, flew us into Bangkok. and then we took American Airlines in the Townsend Air Force Base. We got off that plane, it was a DC-10. And we sitting there in formation, looking at the plane, because the plane could turn its engines out because they were shelling the runway. This baggage train came up and started throwing duffel bags on the conveyor belt. And we stand there in formation like this, looking at these duffel bags, and then all of a sudden we realized, them ain't duffel bags. Them body bags, hundreds, on the plane we just got off of. And so the colonel came up to orientate us as we still stand there, and he says, let me tell you motherfuckers one thing. Some of these kids in those bags got here this morning. So you can fuck around and play around if you want. And you can go home in the bottom of the airplane, or you can go home in the top of the airplane. You pick which one you want to go home. I was ready to get on the plane right then. I was ready to say, I'll take that round trip ticket now. I did not like one moment of that, the most ridiculous thing I've ever done.
Now, how old were you then?
I was, 18, 19. And I'm from the city. I don't know about nothing about no jungle, man. You know, staying in no tent. I still don't camp there. It's the first time I've been in a tent since Vietnam, or the other stand down. I think people should evolve and move up. Why do I want to go back to caveman living?
Okay,
makes
I understand.
no sense to me. I'm looking for the Holiday Inn.
I understand.
Right now, you know, I'm about concrete, not grass.
I understand.
So,
so has this been any help to you, the Standown East Bay Standown?
Well, it's like I was telling you last night. You spend an hour with the PTSD lady telling you to try to forget Vietnam, forget the war, forget Vietnam. Okay, we're all finished. Go back to your tent. So I'm kind of mixed up there. You know, you telling me to forget Vietnam, but then I'm sleeping in the tent. You know, I'm confused.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
So they got a lot of good services out here. It's a good way that if you're living on the street, you really need Stand Down. Because Stand Down will give you 3 nights of good, safe sleep. And you know, ain't nobody going up in your pocket or in your behind. You know, so this is good, safe sleep, and good. You'll get around to see other people struggling, doing the same thing you're doing, and they're not passing the pipe while they're talking about it. So it gives you another way to look at life, at least for 3 or 4 days. And I'm a drinker. I drink. So I'm going through a forced sobriety thing right now. So this may, at the end of 4 days, maybe I'll be able to make a decision. Okay. You know, because I can't do it with the liquor store down the street.
I understand that.
So it's hard to, but now I'm forced to decide in 4 days.